This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
You started that one off good, bud.
Yeah, I sure did. I hit the wrong button. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, that is.
You say you completely forgot the hook set.
Got it. Nope, I got it. Good to go there. Golly, gosh almighty. Here we go. Finally a Wednesday that doesn't have anything, getting in the way except for the Pizza Ranch buffet. A good thing my tummy's down here and not up here because.
Well, Dusty Johnson's calling me right now.
Oh, Dusty, look at that. I just got a text. I wonder if, look at that. It must be, is it John Thune? He hasn't sent anything out or said anything for a long time. I didn't even know he's still alive. Check that out. Well, I'm very happy to have Tom Huynh as a guest tonight. Kurt, I can't speak for you because, I can't speak for you. But I'm guessing you're equally as happy to have Tom Huynh join us tonight.
Yeah, anytime you can have Tom Huynh on is awesome. But, coming off the NPAA conference we were at last weekend, first time attending for myself, really excited about the future of that organization. I think Eric Nagy is going to take it to another level. And, yeah, I think it's going to be really good for that. And Tom was the featured speaker there, and we're going to talk a little bit of his thoughts on the NPAA, and we want to help grow this thing because it truly is a great organization. So we'll bring Tom in. And hey, Tom, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're
Wonderful.
doing all right.
Good. I forgot my glasses. I was going to bring them out of my pickup, and I forgot them. Darn it. Golly. Hey, we had a good time with you at the NPAA. That was a lot of fun in Wisconsin Dells. I didn't know you could go down a water slide that fast, though. Man, when you Japanese hit the water, you hit the water. Gee.
Yeah. I'm glad you held on to me tight, though. Didn't let me get out too ahead of you.
They had a weight limit on the water slide, so I couldn't go. I didn't want to be. I said, if you hear the water slide crash and blew up at Wisconsin Dells, because I went down it.
That's funny.
Actually, we didn't even have time really to hit the water park. It was a busy. I don't know when you got there, Tom. We got there Friday afternoon, and it was like boom, 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 and it was Sunday.
Yeah, I checked in. When I checked into my room, the nice lady behind the desk was like, "You want to pass for the water park?" And I'm like, "No." And she was like super surprised that I said no.
Well, I didn't know if they were having a daycare conference or a crumb cruncher conference. I'm like, why all the kids? It's winter.
Yeah.
But the parking lot's full of people. I guess Wisconsin Dells is a winter hangout. See, I've never been to any of the resorts. If you go through Wisconsin Dells on that main drag, everything's shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So I just assumed that it just completely shut down and that was it. Austin, so it was fun to be at the Chula Vista. It was man, that thing's big. Wow.
Did it take you like going to 3 buildings before you figure out where to check in? Because I think we hit 2, but
yep, I did for sure. Yeah, it's a big place. That's a nice place to have. Yeah,
it is. It really is. It was very accommodating. It was, it was very Montana, Colorado. Backwoods-ish in a timberish kind of knotty pineish. I liked it. It was very picturesque and their ice cream was delicious.
Oh, I missed that part.
I think he had 4 bowls of ice cream while we were there. Every time I turned around, he's like, I got a bowl of ice cream in his hand.
Yeah.
You know what, Tom? Let's do this here real quick because we're going to get into this NPAA thing, and I want you to be able to talk about the THU. So give us all of the info that is coming off the holiday. People had a chance to save money there, and now it's time to get down to brass tacks and start learning how to use the forward-facing sonar.
Yeah, pretty much, and launched it back in September, and it's been really positive. Like it's from the beginners who are just getting into the forward-facing sonar, or the beginners who've had it for 2 or 3 years and just never were too intimidated or just never learned how to use it. have reached out and just tell me how simple I make it. You know what I mean? Like I've simplified things in the university so that they can go out there and have confidence. And actually, I'm getting the same exact response from the top NWT and some Bassmaster guys where they're emailing me. They're saying, hey, you know, I'm already doing most of this stuff, or I'm doing some of the stuff, but to see that I'm on the right track, it gives me the confidence. So like we're really, and to see that Lowrance and Humminbird users, I have, you know, well over 20% of the enrollees don't even have a Garmin, but are benefiting from it. So it's really good to see all of that, and reassuring to lets me know that, you know, I took my time to release it and made sure everything was perfect. But now's the time. We're in the middle of ice, but ice anglers are benefiting from it some. But then, yeah, open water is going to be here before we know it. And now really is the time to study up, get your bearings on what a walleye looks like in open water before you hit the lake.
100%. And I mean, I pulled you aside. We were talking at the conference, and I asked you. I said, you know, you go from the very basics. You know, and which is, you told us, because you know, the night last time we had you on the show, the next day it launched. Yep. So I think that night, I think I ordered it that night or the next day or whatever. Like it was launching that right in that time frame. And, you know, going for like I said, if you get the top guys, like you go down, like this is a transducer. When I say transducer, that's what I mean. And I'm like, does some of the guys find the first couple classes like, I already know this stuff? And your answer to me was no. It's just like they're like, oh, I am doing it right, or reassuring that, you know. So for people out there that have downloaded it or are thinking about downloading it, the first couple episodes are, I mean, they're basic, but you designed it to be that way, and there's a meaning behind that, why it's that way.
Yep. Yeah, and it's because we, you know, our tournament anglers are one thing. You know, for the most part, tournament anglers are pretty versed in their electronics and how things are set up. But we're a small percentage. We're just a small percentage of the users out there. But you have a lot of people who are new to that technology, or just like me, just a few years ago, new to fishing, and they have their equipment installed at dealers, and they say, hey, I want this new Magic Life Scope thing. I want it installed. They install it. But literally, some of them have no clue what their actual transducer is. They don't, it's that basic. And so like, but you know, it starts with that. But then you guys would be surprised with the reviews that I'm getting that through emails and, you know, direct messages online, like telling me like that it's really surprising that I have all of these screen recordings, and you know they're awesome. It's like super detailed and everything, showing you different species and showing you technique and how I present the bait and all that. But there's people who've reached out and been like, you know what, were you, like one guy in particular, he's like, you know what, were you put your trolling motor foot pedal has been night and day for my back and my neck. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
So like, yes. So like there's little nuances like that. And what I say is, even if you are an advanced user and might look at some of the things and think they are very, very basic, my thing is there's like 8 different factors that have to flow simultaneously and effortlessly while you're using LiveScope to be super efficient. And you might have these 8 core things, but then if you're missing just one out of that, you're not just missing 1/8. You're going to be down over 50%, if that makes sense. Like, even there's a lot of anglers that come to my mind right now. They're always in the top 20, sometimes crack a top 10, that are missing. I'm talking tournament guys, even, you know, they're always up there, but missing that one little thing. And this university actually shows all of those things, and they're able to, if they can catch on to one by paying attention to what I'm showing them, and then there's going to be a lot more monsters on the tour than there have been, and which I totally invite, because it just pushes me to learn that much more.
That's what I love about you when you say that, because others are complaining, poor me, where you're saying, well, so what? It's just going to make me try harder. It's going to make me better. It's going to make me work at it.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I think is really important, if people don't take the time to go watch that NPAA live, that live stream, Justin was first, Justin Hamner, Bassmaster Classic, and then Tom was second. So go watch, you can watch both of them. They're both inspirational, but go watch Tom's and get the entire story, because your story comes, I mean, this is the perfect out of crisis comes opportunity story. I thought of you there, Jack. So, where, I mean, literally your future came out of or because of COVID, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, literally,
Yep.
you are who you are, what you are now in the walleye world, even in the bass world, and as a celebrity, because COVID forced you to adapt. You met new people, and you took technology that was out. This was the old Panoptics, and
It wasn't even Panoptics, was it, when you got your first one?
No,
Well,
Panoptics was out there, the original Panoptics. And then, so you're right. So it was the LVS 12. The LVS 12 was like the transducer that shot, how we see live scope screens now.
Yep.
It had the same type return, but it shot like here's right under the boat. It shot a beam out, and you'd miss all of this dead spot right in here. So it was annoying, but that's what they had before they had the LVS 32.
Right.
But yeah, so then they came out with Panoptics, but it was like blobby,
Yep.
And then they came out with LVS 32 after that.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Right. And that completely elevated you. So the inspiration there is 2019, you buy the equipment. By 2020, you realize, and that you've got to pay bills. You've got nail salons to pay for. Just because the world shut down doesn't mean you can't pay your bills. So you go out and you make something of yourself. And look at here, in a short year, was it a year and a half? You became a champion, and then it blew up from there.
Yeah. So in 2021, we won our first. So it was 2020, I fished the first just random tournaments. You know what I mean? I only fished 3 that year, just toward the end of the season for something to do, and won the first one, and then thought, okay, am I onto something, or me and Nate onto something? And then fished the second one, and the third one, and figured out, okay, we are onto something. In 2021, won our first. That was our first year fishing the full aim. We won that state championship, won team of the year, and I got second actually in the NWT championship on my first year that year.
Yeah,
that was the year that you were afraid to come talk to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, the other part, I don't want to give too much away for people to go watch that NPAA speech, but you decided to sign up for your first aim, and the only reason you got in is because another team dropped out.
Yes. So it all, and again, because of COVID. So because of COVID, it shut my businesses down. So it gave me 7 weeks to stress out. So then my stress reliever was getting in the boat and really just not looking at anything except for my live scope screen. And then the tournaments limit out on aim at 100 boats. And I didn't know it at the time, but whenever I called to get in it, it was right before the tournament. It wasn't that long before the tournament day started. I called, and the only reason I got in is because somebody literally had just called in. It was couple older gentlemen that were teamed up that had to drop out because of COVID, and I was able to get that spot. So without all of those things lining up, I honestly truly don't believe I would be where I'm at right now in the fishing industry. Things are sometimes just meant to be.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? It is. It's just a super story. Go watch it if you get a chance to do it. You can do it on Tom's page too, because Tom, you shared that live stream on your Facebook page at Tom Wynn Fishing on Facebook, so you can go check it out there, or the NPAA site. So let's get into the NPAA thing here. This is you on stage, and you went from beginning to end and really gave people a good shot in the arm, and it was great to hear you talk. I think the other thing that's inspirational is, I don't want to be negative about the NPAA, but things kind of felt like they'd slipped for a while. The more people I talked to that had been a part of it, just kind of, I don't want to say they tired of it or whatever, but it feels like the NPAA is going to be the place to go if you want to be a professional, or if you want to get better. And I'm talking whether you're a guide or a professional fisherman or whatever it happens to be. And you're going to be the face of it, I should say, because there are going to be so many more faces. And and I think the enrollment is going to be younger, and we're going to see younger people in there. There were, Ketchum Callan was there, and some of the younger guys. It was great to see them. I hope in coming years we get a chance to see these younger kids, but I'm excited about the future of the NPAA. And I think part of it is because you are very excited about it as well.
I am. And I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not on the board. I have, no professional type relationship there at all. From what I saw and from what I think it could be, I will be there, for the years to come. Like, I'll be there because you get to talk to literally, the Parsonses were there, some of the big names in the sport were there, where even if you're, you don't have to be a professional tournament angler. You can be any tournament, an aspiring tournament angler, or just somebody hardcore fishing that wants to learn from some of us who literally can come to the convention and the conference, I should say, and meet people. Just not like in a, it's not like in a professional setting either. Not, what I mean? I'm not demeaning it. It's not like, it's like in the lobby, sitting there talking at the restaurant bar area where, everybody just mingling and talking, and, you have your couple speakers and things like that. But most of the time it's just all of those contacts and networking that you can do, and get to meet the people maybe you've been watching on TV or YouTube or something for a long time. So, it was a good group of people there. Everybody, it was refreshing. And just to see that they're who is willing to share, to talk about their successes, whether they want to be tournament anglers, no matter what level it is, or if they want to be a guide and make money that way. There's so many people there to bounce ideas off of, and people seem to be pretty open, and people are becoming more open now, I think, to sharing secrets, because they can see now by teaching and by educating and giving those things away is how you're actually going to grow in this sport, versus being tight-lipped. You're just going to stay stagnant, if not, go backwards. So,
well, and I think you said it, the thing about it, what I found the best about it is, like, I know a lot of the guys, from this and from the years of doing this stuff, but, I run into you at a tournament. You're not in that mode just to sit there and hang out and talk.
Yeah.
No matter what day of that tournament is, you're either wore out from fishing for the week, or you got to worry about getting stuff ready. This was a middle of the winter. Nobody's got to go fishing in the morning. And you got to sit there, and you hung out, and everybody just acted, the first time I got to interact with Jacob L., and I spent 2 hours on Friday night talking to Jacob L. It was like literally just a very, like, and it could be, to be honest with you, it could be a little intimidating, but just walk up and start talking to him, and nobody, we had our group in the corner that we all were hanging out with, but if anybody walked in there, nobody had been shunned out of there. Like, so it was very welcoming. And I mean, even Sean Grams was there.
Right.
Yeah. And Sean Graham's the most popular co-angler on the on the NWT. But what he just said there is his wife was there and his daughter was there, so it was a great place to bring the family too. And he was his wife was very happy, very pleased with how, and surprised really, how polite everybody was, how accommodating and how welcoming all of the anglers there were to their family, and it's not just a bunch of guys. I mean, you look at Sean, that's probably why she was confused. She's like, all these guys are going to be like Sean. No.
Right. Right.
Love you, Sean.
And
He had a long
that was
ride
the
home
fun.
going, why aren't you more like them guys?
That whole group, we laughed a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
When and then the funny thing, with Sean being there, we start talking and telling stories and find out what a small world it is.
Crazy.
I was at Cedar Shore, you were at Cedar Shore, Sean was there. And it was, for the three of us, it was a first for all three of us. And then of course Kurt was there because he's the tournament director. So, we didn't really even know each other, but we were there. It's just crazy.
It is nuts how all that stuff works out. And but
It is.
yeah, it was, just and Sean's daughter Debbie got to walk around, and everybody was just playing catch with her ball, or signed her jersey. Yeah, everybody took it was no big deal. So it's a great place to hang out. And
you got Sean Graham's signature on there. I'm still baffled by why she'd want that one on there. Why?
I know.
I don't know. It had some value until Sean signed it.
Unless he put baby at the end.
Yeah, there are opportunities with the NPAA. They've got great benefits. We didn't really break out and talk about all of the benefits that you get from the NPAA, and they're not detailed on the website like they probably could be. But I think some of that stuff is going to change. Give the NPAA a chance. It's $100 a year, and honestly, with the discount from Rapala, you're if you're buying ripping wraps and jigging wraps and things, it'll pay for itself. And you've got others there. I don't know if Northland will stay on now that they're owned by GSM or not. I guess it doesn't matter, but there are a ton of others. It's well worth it.
Yeah, and even like the fishing apparel, the rain gear line that they have is a top-notch line, and they too, just by if I'm doing my math right, you buy the rain gear and the savings you have, you're recovering more than what you spent to be in the NPAA.
Yeah. Well, even the new media kit that they released and offered free for members, that media kit is professionally done. When I opened it up first, I opened it in my cell phone because I thought, if I can edit this on my smartphone, I'm in on it, and I'm going to dig it. And so then I got a call from the guy that and I wish I could remember his name, Mike Bryan, somebody I can't remember, but with a nice discussion about the media kit and how easy it is to use. And it's way easy to use on a desktop, and I would guess the same as a Mac. But if you hired someone to put a media kit together like that, it would cost you well north of $300, $400, $500, I'm guessing, because of everything that's involved. And the cool thing is you follow their template. That's fine. But if you want to make it your own, you can make it your own. You've got the backbone. You've got the bones there. Make it yours. Make it look different than anybody else's. And you're done with just easy clicks of buttons. I think it's a Canva program. So it's simple.
Yeah. And, I kind of compared it with like those discounts you get from the NPAA sponsors just for that, $100 membership. I kind of compared it with, a lot of us anglers who are looking for sponsorships or pro staff deals. Some of those discounts are actually more than what we get, so it's definitely worth a look, and you get all of that benefit plus getting to come hang with a bunch of people who are fairly like-minded at the end of the year. So
Well, and think about that. Think about the camaraderie and the fact that you're going to meet new people. You're going to get to hang out with people. You get to meet a diverse group because there were writers there were influencers
Yep.
there were anglers there were pros there, and you know, a lot of the seasoned anglers. You know, the older crowd. You know, there was definitely a group of you know, longtime members, which is great. That's fine. But I'm excited to hear that they're going to keep the convention in the or conference in the upper Midwest, probably in the
Mhm.
Minneapolis area again.
Mhm.
Not that they, you know, in the South, it's pretty hard for everybody in the upper Midwest to be a part of that because
Yep.
it takes something to go south. But if you can be in the Wisconsin, whether it's Eau Claire or Wisconsin Dells or Minneapolis area, whatever it happens to be, you know, Brainerd, Bemidji, whatever, that's pretty accessible for people in the upper Midwest. And this is a great time to join for just $100. And here,
Yep.
you know, we're not paid by the NPAA. Didn't ask us to
No.
get together to talk about this either. This, you know, Kurt's like, what should we talk about to Tom about NPAA? And like, you know, really, I guess if it comes down to it, this is the perfect night to talk about it, to follow it up. Because that, and like I told you in the text when I said join us or asked you to join us, it's about the follow up. And we don't have a lot of follow up afterwards. So you
Mhm.
followed up on your Facebook page, and now this is our opportunity to follow up with you. So
Yeah, and I don't even think the NPA probably doesn't even know we're doing this. So it's not like, you know,
yeah, right. Yep.
I just think it's a great organization to be a part of, and
Well,
I hope to be able to see a lot of you out there watching next year. Come meet us, you know.
Right.
Well, what, you know, like when I decided to join again, and I talked to Eric and partnered with him, I didn't join because, like I told him, me as a person, I don't fish tournaments. My business, the fishing crew, needs to be on there, not Kurt Underhill. That's how I look at it. And you know, I'd like to help out the organization grow and be able to be partners with you guys. And I had no idea, like, the legislative stuff, that their ability, like, they're one of the driving forces why tournaments can go back to North Dakota. Like, they have that outreach of any problems you have if they're taking access on a lake, or they're shutting down motorized boats on a lake, or whatever. They have a big backing to be able to come and help you out with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, which is awesome. And I mean, for $100 a year, you're not hiring a lobbyist anywhere in this country for under a couple, you know, 10, 20, 30,000, if not more, to lobby for you. And if you
Yeah.
get the ability to have them help you lobby, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It gives us all more of a voice than what we'd have in any other avenue.
Yeah. And there's
Yeah,
so
and
many
I
numbers
think
when
the
it comes to
voice thing-
lobbying, right? They all want to know what the constituents want so they can get reelected. Well, now when there's a big voice like, excuse me, the NPAA coming in, you have a big voice rather than us three standing up there trying to testify. You know, I started to watch that video that I think you shared or commented on, Jason, about forward-facing sonar. The guy, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I don't know if you've seen that one out there. DNR is doing studies on the alarm, the you know, sound the alarms on forward-facing sonar. Like, it's not that. Like, I've said it a million times. Forward-facing sonar, yes, it's helping us catch fish. No different than when a GPS came out, or spot lock, or a color graph came out. It's all changing times. It's not about the electronics to do. It's about who you are as a person. If you need to go out there and put 50,000 fish on the ice to get a cool Facebook picture, they were doing that before we had forward-facing sonar.
Yep,
Right.
exactly.
You know,
and ironically, with that news story coming out, and you know, Chasen posted it, and Sean Graham's actually texted it to me earlier, and ironically, I had a meeting today with the Minnesota DNR.
You did?
Yeah. So the state of Minnesota, the DNR of Minnesota, has never once entertained the fact of banning forward-facing sonar. No matter what the rumors have been, people are like, "Oh, Minnesota's going to ban it. They're going to limit it. They're going to do this." there's not even been one talk within their group of doing that. So back in the summer, this is before I won the championship, anything like that. Back in the summer, they reached out to me. Like when I saw them, you know, that they were calling, or the guy said, "Hey, I'm so and so from the Minnesota DNR." I looked at my buddy Nate Wolski. I'm like, "What'd you do?" No, no, but they invited me. So every 2 years, the DNR. This is the first time I've talked about it actually, but every 2 years, the Minnesota DNR get together for an annual meeting, and there's over 250 of them in every branch of their offices across the state, and they asked me to be their keynote speaker. So
did you have a program put together like you did for the NPAA, or did you actually come with stuff?
No, I haven't spoke to. I haven't done
I haven't done it
yet. Yeah, and it'll be exactly what I had. That's going to be how I prepare.
You saw Hammer at a slideshow and you ran up your room to write some notes down.
Yeah, yeah, yep. But they so just the fact that they are willing to reach out to someone like me. When I say someone like me, I'm talking about the nemesis to the people who are hating forward-facing sonar, right? Like for them to reach out to me, to not to demean anything that I'm doing. They want to actually learn. They want to see and they want to know what I'm seeing. So like a lot of the stuff that I actually included in Tom Wayne University, I'm taking a lot of those raw screen recordings. I'm showing them some of the things, some of those things, not teaching them how to use LiveScope, but showing them how they can potentially use this technology to actually better our fisheries. And so I'm gonna give you guys more on that before my speech in March or after my speech in March. But to see that the states are stepping up and wanting to learn from the other side, I should say, is awesome. And it speaks again to what I said on stage the other day. One of the things I made it clear as a angler, if you want to make it in this business, the business of fishing, I should say, it doesn't have to be tournaments, but if you want to make it, you have to make yourself available. And you never, I said it, you never know who's watching. And so I don't know anybody from the DNR, but they, have been paying attention, and they wanted somebody to come in that could teach them what they're looking at underwater and how best to keep the fish populations healthy and alive, actually by using this technology.
Which is,
so it sounds like they're keeping an open mind.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which is incredible because, gillnet surveys, what they've been doing for 40 years, like 2 years ago, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, but our game fish and parks came into the fisheries meeting not 2 years ago. So in January, and they told us there's an abundance of under 13-inch walleyes in Lake Oahe, and there's an abundance of over 20, but 15 to 19 is very scarce. And that's what they said. And it was like, shell shocked. Your slot fish are not there. Like, what are we going to do? Well, that next summer, literally everybody was, I caught limits, and that's saying something. You could go out and catch your limit fairly easy on those, and they were nice, fat, 17, 18-inch walleyes. But their net survey showed very little of those in the system. Yeah. So next year I went up there and I say, "Do you guys put your nets in the same spot every year?" And they say, "Yeah."
Time.
Oh, okay.
For decades.
These fish don't swim, they don't move. So you put this down, and then you're reporting data to the public that there's no 15 to 19-inch fish in the system when we had a plentiful amount of them. Yeah, and and two, we're able to, like with being able to use forward-facing sonar now we're understanding that the things that we thought we knew about fish and where they did move and where we're putting the nets, where we're doing all of that through these surveys,
we're learning now that what we thought we knew is a lot of it's a complete 180. A lot of it is completely thrown out the window. And like you can, like just how I approach tournaments, or if I'm looking for a certain size fish, I mean, it's not about going here off this point anymore. It's like putting in the time, putting in the miles, and searching. And the fish are there. They're just they're in in their little groups by size, and with this technology now, it's gonna be able to at least maybe hopefully help them be more accurate.
Yeah.
Well, I think it helps us understand the big aquariums that they've got at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. It helps me better understand walleye because I for years I'm like, what's this walleye doing? Up like this, up in a corner.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing in the water. And honestly, I think so. When I was a kid in the 70s fishing in Minnesota, 70s and up to mid 80s, the walleye were completely different back then because they weren't. I don't think there was a huge stocking program like there is that came along once we had all of these glacial lakes and the prairie potholes started filling up and they started expanding the fishery and they started stocking and growing fish, right? So stocked fish, I think, behave different than, and I'll maintain that forever until some scientist or a doctor tells me I'm full of crap. But stocked fish and fish born in the wild, walleye specifically, they act differently. They may be the same, they got same nature, but there's a difference growing up in nature, living in weeds and rocks or in a concrete tub or tank until you're released. And then it's like, whoa, what's all this stuff? So, I walleye changed and we learned so much. I think one thing that I'm starting to learn too, now let's broach on it, just touch this a little bit. The last fishing trip that I went out, we were marking fish all day long in 11.5 feet of water. And fish would come in from 65, 55, 45, 35, 32. And they'd come in and they'd get to 32. And they just were disappearing. And I wish I would have kept track because it was 10, 11, 12 times. And I shut my Garmin off. And I started, about 5 minutes later, started actually marking fish underneath my bait with a Vexilar. So I think we probably all can admit that, yeah, the fish are feeling the ping. They're getting that. But it seems so, it's just not common, because I can sit on a lake. I sat on Lake Poncet fishing crappie the other day, and it didn't bother the crappie at all. They came in and the walleye and the perch because I saw them. The water's clear enough. I could see all the way down 17 feet. So it's not, it isn't a for sure thing. That's what's really weird to me.
Yeah.
It isn't.
And the pinging too, I mean, it's loud. You can hear it. Like when it's on my boat and it's on, you can just hear it. You know what I mean? But in open water, a lot of that's diminished with just open water, the air, the waves, the boat, the everything is diminished, and we're moving towards them too. We're in ice, we can't do that. And under ice, I could definitely see where the pinging is going to be almost not amplified, but louder because
it resonates.
It's so quiet. Plus, then also when you're, I think, in weeds, I think you're going to have fish more likely to come under you because, like, if I was to clear out everything in this shop and be talking right now, there'd be quite the echo.
Oh,
but
yeah, horrible.
So if it's like sand bottom or rock bottom, like in the lake, it would be the echoing of that beam. But then I think when you're in weeds or mud, it absorbs a lot of that, and then the fish are more likely to come closer to you under the ice. Because I do think some species are more sensitive to it. Like I think ciscos or whitefish, whatever, are more sensitive to it than walleyes that I've seen in open water. But other than that, that's my only observation in open water. But if you're, like I said, if you're in weeds, soft bottom, and that pinging can absorb and not echo, I think you're going to be better under the ice.
So how about forward versus down? You know, under the ice. You know, so forward you've got Garmin. Does Garmin have 5 deucers in that whole? You know, separate. You know, is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
5?
So,
You know, I mean,
if you're forward or down as far as pinging,
it's going to be the same, right?
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And I'm landscape. So no matter what, the thing is pinging. At landscape, it's throwing it out. I guess pretty much like the forward is. Down would be straight down and straight back up. So yeah, I would love to have some scuba gear and be under there, because I've heard that it's, that it is, you can hear it with the human ear down there, and I'd love to hear it. I'd like to know the difference. But here again, if you don't mind me saying this, it's a people problem, not an electronics problem. You can be as good as you are. I can be whatever I am, and Kurt can be whatever he is. And if we each take a Garmin, a Mega Live 2, and an active target out, and we catch our 4 fish and come home, we each used it to catch 4 fish and came home. Now, if somebody goes beyond that, there's where the people problem comes in, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. As far as the debate on banning forward facing sonar because it's going to kill our fisheries, it's not, like I've always said, like what you're getting at, it's not the technology, it's the humans.
Yeah. I mean, we have a limit for a reason, right? Like if you decide to go fish every day right here off the dock and catch your 4 walleyes, you're not breaking any laws. Now, if you go catch 8 a day, then you are. Right. And it's more of a people thing, because South Dakota got rid of possession in your domicile. So at my house, my house of residence where I live and get mail, I can have unlimited amounts of fish in my freezer. So now if I have a cabin, I can only have my 8 or whatever, but I can go down here and catch 4 fish every single day and throw them in my freezer. Now, do you think we're going to eat that much fish?
No.
And then that's where the people problem comes in. It's not, I can do that with forward facing sonar or without.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's been a problem forever.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. Whether it's green box or not, Hilux jug, and, whatever it happens to be, you hear those stories of Al and those guys years ago, back in the 70s, that come back with, hundreds of fish. I don't know if they were hundreds of walleye or perch or whatever, but that obviously back before there was a definitive limit, and they were just that doggone good they could catch that many fish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what the answer is, because after I shared the Carry 11 thing from Minneapolis, I had quite a few people that either called or text or responded some way, somehow, thinking that I had an ulterior motive. And I said, no, that's why I just said, and I left it there, because it was a conversation, right? If you didn't see it, it's out there on YouTube. DNR sounds alarm over forward facing sonar. I didn't get to finish watching it either, because it was a busy afternoon. So I'll watch it either tonight when we're done or tomorrow. And I'm going to make in through the outdoor episodes out of it, and make some changes for next week's programs. And I'll include you in it because of your response with being contacted by the DNR. And I think that's extremely important. And I think people need to hear that.
Yep.
So,
well, I think it's like any technology. It can be used for good or it can be used for bad. Right? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's your cell phone or forward-facing sonar or whatever it is. And the fact that they're reaching out to you and you're going to go with the mindset of, we can use this as a tool to help us know what fish are out there, and size classes and all the different stuff that you can teach these guys. And I think what has come to me is, like, what people got to remember is you put hours and hours and hours into learning this. But this ain't like it's unlearnable.
No.
Yeah, right. When do you ever get to the point where I can't learn anymore? It's not just like nobody's going to know as well as good as Tom Wynn, which honestly, nobody's probably going to know as good as Tom Wynn, but you can get there. You can learn this stuff and know this stuff. It's nothing like you have to know how to program certain codes into your Garmin to get it to do it.
No, guys, I was getting that for years. Like even when Nate and I started winning tournaments, we were like, you know, Tom has a Garmin nobody's ever seen. I had no relationships with Garmin. I paid full price for all of my stuff, and like they always thought I had some next generation technology. And even with the release of THU, people would ask, they're like, well, some people would be like, well, if you're using all this latest stuff that we can't even get yet. And I'm like, guys, I've always used what you can buy. Anybody can buy. I'm not even a beta tester.
Oh, I asked
Garmin.
you that at the conference. I said, do you beta test for Garmin? You're like, no, I don't.
No.
And I figured you did.
No. So that's the thing. I am using it, and anybody can learn it. I grew up fixing fences and painting fingernails later on in life. I'm telling you, you guys put in the time, you're going to be, you can learn it. And I tried to shorten that curve for people. So
yeah. And like I said, you just put time behind it, and you said it, in your speech of, I'm a perfectionist. I learned to do nails. I invented some new techniques for nails that other people use now because you're a perfectionist. You went under and found LiveScope, and you, like I said, you started with a 12. I didn't even know there was a 12 before Panoptics. I don't know many people know that. Panoptics came out. I thought it was a game changer. Then LiveScope came out.
I went from the 12 to the 32. I didn't even get Panoptics in between there. So
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure but do you know what do you know what LiveScope was invented for?
Not really. No, I guess I don't.
Collision detection on ships and oceans. That's what the Garmin engineers designed it for, was to shoot forward so the ships in the ocean could see stuff and they wouldn't hit it.
Okay. Crazy.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
That we ice fished with, and they're like, Garmin had zero market share until they realized somebody took this out and went, this marks fish. The engineer designed it for collision detection and ships in the ocean.
Right.
That completely makes sense.
Because I'm like, why, because I had always heard the rumor, well, a Hummingbird engineer left and a Lowrance engineer left, and they went and started this. And they're like, no, that's not true. An engineer designed this for collision detection and ships in the ocean. And that's why you got the LVS 64 that shoots out so far, is now they got a longer response time to see something in their way.
Yep. Completely makes sense.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my Humminbird 360 that I set up back in 2014. I put everything in a toolbox, and it's all. I wish I could find it, because just like I went back and happy birthday over.
I've never seen over a hill in my life, buddy. I'm always under them.
I laughed when I saw that. But the crazy thing is, and I got laughed at. I mean, my buddies were laughing at me because I'm out there with 360 on the ice. This was an open water deal, and I made it an ice. I'm like, well, if you can use this in open water on a boat, why the hell can't you use it on the ice? And it's amazing. On Lake of the Woods, we were up there with a guide, and I said, I don't know what kind of brush is up here. He goes, this is a mud basin. There's no structure here. Sorry, pal, but 360 says there's something there. And I truly believe that it may have been rocks or something, at that point. But that technology, I've had more people ask me over the years about side imaging. Do you think side imaging is worth it? I think it's just stupid. Well, you think it's stupid because number one, you haven't used it. You don't understand what you're looking at, and you're not practicing. So you're the epitome of practice. And I tell people that all the time when they ask me about it. Not that I'm a professional, I just use it. So they're curious because I'm a user, right? Yep. And I chose to practice and understand it and become as good as I can with it for the little that I go out and fish. But you go out and you practice, and practice has made a professional out of you, right? I mean, there's just no other way to put it.
Yep. And just for the fact that I had, I learned right away to catch, to find these walleyes back in 2020, and to catch them. But then it came down to like, okay, there's other fish in these systems, and especially these river systems and things like that. And like, I just told myself, like, there has to be a way to differentiate species from species. And I just spent the time to figure it out, like, and to be able to show people that now and explain that to them using these screen recordings. And that's what the DNR too was interested in. They're like, well, you have recordings of muskies. I'm like, yep. What about suckers? I'm like, yep. So he's like, so just being again, it goes back to my, if I want to do something or learn something, it might take me a while to get started on it. But once I get started on it, I don't want to stop,
Yeah, that's how I am. I was so intrigued. Even with the side imaging thing, when it came to fences, culverts, old foundations, and just even points and inside turns, and all of that undulation that the river offers, truly amazing. And once you figure it out, and I always told people, I said, you hate fishing weeds, but you want to fish a weed line, then use your side imaging to put waypoints along that weed edge line, and then tell your autopilot to just, your iPilot to just fish 25 feet from that line. And unless it's super windy, that's what you're going to get. It's awesome.
Yep. I'm just quick Googling undulation.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I don't even know how to spell it. It's like
that's like my Googling it. I'm like, okay, I don't
even know. Any of the golfers we have out there, they would be able to answer what undulation means. Oh, that's hilarious.
No, I mean, Tom, like you said, you told me, I'm an open book, and I love that comment of like, that's what we need in the sport. You look at these bass guys, and you've seen them on camera throw baits to the guy next to him. I'm using this, and you're telling me. I said, guys ask me, and I'll tell them where I was fishing. They don't believe me. I'm in their head now. They don't believe what I'm telling them, and I'm not lying to them.
And I know that. See, yeah, and it was big and clumsy, but it had everything that it needed, and it worked well. And I'm pulling it back out, and I'm going back to using it. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the conversation there, but
no, good.
So, but yeah,
you're right. Just as far as putting, no, he just said thanks for putting the time in on the water. But yeah, that was Chad. Appreciate you, man. But as far as in the beginning, it's like I just learned that if I just tell people, in the beginning, they didn't believe me anyway, because it was so like what the things I was using in the beginning was just kind of simple. So they're like, there's not a chance, and again, going back, people are like, Tom is definitely using some bait, especially made from Japan. I got that so many times.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, but no, I mean, it's just
I'm using a black jig head and crawler
from Japan.
Yeah, from Japan.
No, but just by sharing the information, getting everybody on the same page, it not just pushes us as competitive anglers. It's going to push the industry. So it's going to push the industry to make different baits, to make more baits, and to grow like we haven't seen it yet. So we think we've seen the best stuff now. I mean, just imagine in a few years what's going to be available. So,
but then time out. What is it that you use to become successful? A lead head or a black jig and a crawler?
Yeah,
just right back to the basics, right?
Yep. Well, it was.
We had Greg Wallner on, and people complain about forward-facing sonar, and it's wrecking the fisheries, and it's wrecking the tackle manufacturers. And Greg Wallner told us, no, it's not. We're designing new baits for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Like we're designing new baits for the forward-facing sonar. So we're not making as many crankbaits, or we're not making bottom bouncers. We're making different things for that. And if you don't, you're just going to fall behind.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. You know what it's wrecking? It's wrecking my shoulder because it's so damn big and heavy and clumsy. That's what it's doing. You know, and I got to use 2 arms to pick it up, and I've got a lithium battery in it. I mean, it's a lot of stuff.
That's probably the secret. He's got all these extra colors we've never seen before in the boat. Like he's got a whole sample tray. Go, which one?
Yeah. I got my tool belt with my nail polishes from the salon. Like, well, this black isn't working today. I have to.
Okay, so but don't laugh. You do have nail polish. If I have nail polish, I have red, I have black, I have orange, I have pink, and I have gold.
What do you use
In
for
my
your
pack
lure?
bag.
What polish do you use for your lures, though? Yeah.
I resemble that remark. Yeah, that's funny. You know, but you know, seriously, there was a time, and I honestly I don't know that I used them that much. I may have used red or gold.
Mhm.
You know, and with the black phenomena. Chris, how you doing?
Going on,
Long
Chris?
time no talk there. Chris has been busy up in Devil's Lake.
Yeah.
I keep Sharpies now instead of nail polish. I keep Sharpies.
Mhm.
So if you know, I mean, whatever it is, and a lot of times I'm just painting something black with a black Sharpie
Mhm.
and going after it because I either only have 2 black jigs or whatever it happens to be. So you know, some of those little tricks like that work pretty doggone good,
Yeah.
unless you're smart enough to have enough of the right color. And I guess if you're going black, you know, and that's it. So are you diverse enough to use a little chartreuse, a little orange, or do you just predominant? It's
Yeah.
you've got trays of black jigs in different sizes.
Black jigs, the black and gold,
Gold.
and the olive have been my arsenal the last few years. And again, my goal is to have that jig blend in as much to the surroundings as possible. And black is always a silhouette, no matter what
Right.
shade of the water it is. Black is always a silhouette. A silhouette is always natural. The olive is, if you look at that green, it's not the green that we've ever seen before. It is the color of weeds. And so that's my go-to weed jig. And the black and gold, obviously, you know, is pretty natural looking. But this spring, actually, one that I've been talking about for like 3 years now that we didn't, you know, I was just like, can we actually make this? Can we actually do it? Northland's coming out with one this spring that is going to be probably my top pick. So you guys have to wait a little bit and I'll show you, but yeah.
So it's more than it's beyond the stand-up jig then that they came out with. That came out this fall, didn't it?
Yeah.
The stand-up.
So yep, it's mostly a color that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Or the lack of a color, I should say. Mm-hmm.
All right, we got one from Johnny
Here we go.
that covers Tom's face.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang, Johnny's making us stop here.
Yeah, right. That's okay though.
Yep.
100%.
Right.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, I mean and then that's what it is, right? I mean, if we're not evolving, we're going backwards, and we just got to be able to evolve with the times. And you know, I just was having a conversation with a guy tonight, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just not proficient with forward-facing sonar. I just need to spend more time with it." You know,
Yeah.
He's like, "One of these days you should ban it for your tournament." I'm like, "No, I'm never going to be that tournament circuit that does it. You know, go out." And I want to see the best of the best. And if the best is because you have forward-facing sonar or you're not using it, that's what makes you the best.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Not like I said, it's not like Tom has some secret graph or secret thing that nobody else has. He's using the same stuff you're using.
Yep. And I'm teaching with that too, and literally teaching. There's people too that are like, oh, he's not going to show you everything he's doing. I show you everything that I'm doing in the university.
You have nothing to lose by it. Haven't we all learned that when somebody tells you about a technique, we caught him on a red hook only with a blue bead, blah, 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 whatever, in this spot on that point. You can go out there 5 hours later or the next day. Good luck. Good luck duplicating that whole pattern, because it isn't going to happen. Maybe you've got secret ways of hooking your worm that for some reason catches you more fish than others. But then again, are we going to really hook it the way you do anyway? So, share away. And I thank you for doing that, because it takes a lot of guts to do that, and pride to share, what you're doing. And it's amazing. I thank you for being
I think the best thing is, and maybe I'm wrong, but you're not looking at you're fishing against any of these other guys on that water. You're fishing against those fish.
Right.
100%.
You don't care what anybody else is doing or what they're doing. It's not about you beating Chase or Tommy or any of the other guys out there. You want to beat those fish on that day.
Yeah. Well. I mean, at the championship, day 3, I don't know if I don't know the history, but I was in 8th place. A lot of people kind of counted me out, and myself included.
Not this
time. Myself included. And we were like, that's the thing. I went out there and that was the thing. I was my own, I'm my biggest competition myself, but also I was like, I have to go figure out where these fish are. And I already did it. And thankfully they came to me that day. You know what I mean? So it was, you're right. It's all about it doesn't matter who's leading ahead of me. I do want to beat them, but it's not about, I have to go beat this guy. It's me. I have to go do my best to learn these fish. And I think I've done well learning their behavior and watching their behavior, actually. So,
a fantastic job.
So, well, Tom, we're at the hour mark. We appreciate having you on. I'm sure it will not be the last time. Well, I hope it won't be the last time, because there's many new things coming. And I would love to follow up with you after that DNR meeting to see the response that they had to your education of it.
Yeah.
And, make sure you get that, I would love to find out what they have to say, because that would be really interesting. Maybe I could get South Dakota to do something like that, but you never know.
It would be awesome.
So I'll keep you guys posted. It's going to be, for me too, it's interesting. We have 250 to 300 all DNR officials and wardens and everything in there listening to what I have to say. And it's not just gonna be what I have to say. It's stuff that I've listened from a lot of you guys and fellow anglers that, can be addressed. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And there's still 12 spots in the Governor's Cup, so you can come fish that. Remember, we talked about that.
There we go.
All spots left.
Might have to do that, Sean Grams.
Yeah, Sean Grams.
There you go. There you go. All right, Tom. Thank you very much. Right. Happy New Year.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Right, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,